Let's get more on this now. Wole Ojewale is the Regional Organised Crime Observatory Coordinator for Central Africa at the Institute for Security Studies, and he joins us live from Dhaka. Wole, how significant is this move from the US, and will it have any impact on the ground in Sudan?
Thank you so much for having me. I think this is very significant because of the quarter from which it is coming from. And what we will expect in the coming days is that the statement is actually backed up with action. Sanctions have been imposed, and then we do hope that even beyond the imposition of sanction, the people who have been involved in these from the RSF top leadership are actually brought to account in due course. So I think these also feed into the pressure that we've been campaigning for, that global powers like the United States and its alliance are supposed to impose on the warlords. So it's really commendable, and we're expecting that these, if they are able to place targeted sanction that actually help to limit the capacity of the RSF to probably access financing for their violent activities and block their means of illicit trading, that is going to go a long way in probably stifling the resources that they are using to commit this war against humanity in the region.
There are, of course, widespread reports of gender-based violence in Sudan, but also wildly varying estimates about the actual number of people who have been killed in the violence, specifically civilians. What kinds of numbers are we talking about, though?
We're talking about targeted ethnic cleansing. We're talking about targeted attacks against civilians, conscription of even young children to the war front. We're talking about attacks that is actually limiting the humanitarian access in terms of food supply to the people, in terms of inability of those young children to even go to school, which is about committing a crime against their future. So it's a whole lot of crime that is being committed and put on the scale. You now have the issue of food insecurity, which is also supposed to be a form of human right in that context. And then the big one, which is the wanton killing of people, destruction of private and business properties, just because I think Sudan crisis has been relegated to the backwater. And then we've heard about other global conflicts and such action that the United States and its allies and other leading global powers have been able to muster in Gaza, in Ukraine, because we've not seen such a level of effort in Sudan.
Yeah, you mentioned allies of the United States. Do you think other countries and bodies will follow suit with sanctions now that the US has made this move?
I'm expecting that because it has to be a global response. The Sudan crisis has been relegated to the backwater. Nobody's really giving sufficient attention to it. So I'm expecting that other global alliance of the United States, even within the African continent, are not going to take side with any of the warlords, because both are illegitimate, really, both the military commander and the RSF, so that we can see some form of a respite, at least for the people in the coming days. So, I believe most countries are going to take from what the United States has taken, and we're expecting that it's going to be a biting reality for the RSF on ground.
Wole Ojewale, great to speak to you and get your analysis once again on the News Hour on TRT World. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.